The leaders of the Montreal municipal parties are out doing as many sit-downs and interviews as possible to get their appeals out there to voters before next month. Political analyst Justine McIntyre has been following the campaign for us and joins us now. So Justine, the corner booth had a special edition last Thursday at the Siegel Centre, invited 3 of the mayoral candidates. Soraya Martinez then sat down with La Presse's editorial team yesterday. And now she and Luc Rabouin will be on CJD tomorrow. What's coming out of these interviews so far in terms of a vision for Montreal? And are there big differences between the visions?
There are definitely some differences. It's just an absolute whirlwind for these candidates who have been on just about every platform that you can think of and trying to get their messages out. Definitely some differences are emerging, quite clear differences between the candidates. We know that Luc Rabouin has been trying to distance himself from the legacy of Valérie Plante, while at the same time trying to carry forward some of the main proposals of his party, Projet Montréal. So I think that he's finding that more and more difficult to do as the campaign continues along, and we're sensing a certain frustration coming out of the Projet Montréal campaign with regards to how to reposition that message. Soraya Martinez is really positioning herself as the person who wants to go after homelessness. She wants to really improve the situation in Montreal. She wants to also talk about and keeps bringing the conversation back to basic services in the city and making Montreal once again into more of a metropolis city. And as for the other candidates, Transition Montréal has very effectively positioned itself as a progressive party and has a little bit stolen the thunder, even I would say, from some of Projet Montréal's positions. So there's a lot to look at, really, and they all have quite a complete program. So it's a very rich and a very diverse, very interesting conversation that they're having right now.
Well, you did mention Valérie Plante and the difficulty for Luc Rabouin to separate himself from her, but she inserted herself into the campaign this week for the first time, going on social media to brag about her accomplishments on bike paths. Do you think that was a good idea, or could that hurt him again?
Oh dear, Caroline. This is a situation where timing really is everything. There was an Economist article that came out that holds Montreal up as an example of bike paths and how the sort of the transformational power of bike paths for a city and how people's behavior has adapted and changed. And more people are taking their bikes to get around the city. Now, this is all a good thing. These are all things to be proud of. And indeed, Montreal is changing. But it may be changing a little bit too quickly. There are still adjustments to be made. There's a certain amount of frustration as well within the population. And Valérie Plante decided that it would be a good idea to come out on social media and kind of blow her own horn about those advances that are being made in the city and being referred to in The Economist, which is, an international publication. But timing, really, at this point in the election, where we know that bike paths are a source of frustration, we know that Luc Rabouin needs to start talking about other issues as well, needs to shift the focus from that towards other things that Montrealers also care about. It just seemed like the timing wasn't great, and it was one of those moments where perhaps she could have waited until after the election to give herself a pat on the back.
Yeah, might have been putting a spoke in his wheels there. Who knows? We'll have to see. But definitely it's been a sore point with a lot of people, a lot of motorists. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that was a good decision in the end. That's our time for today. Justine, we'll have to check in with you again next week and see what's going on with the campaign. Thanks so much for your time.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Caroline.